Hi everyone, welcome to my Data Analysts Hackathon project. Just a minute. So, this project was completed as a part of Techcanvass Data Analytics Hackathon, where participants were given real world business case studies and asked to solve it using data analysis. So, in this walkthrough, I'll walk you through my complete approach from understanding the business problem, analyzing multiple data sets in Excel, creating custom scoring models, and finally, recommending the best countries for global MedHealth systems to expand into. So let's begin by understanding the challenge first. So before writing a single formula or creating any charts, the first step was to clearly understand what exactly the business wanted. This is exactly how real world business analysts and data analysts work. Rather than jumping directly into data, we first understand the business objective. So for this hackathon, the challenge was divided into 5 major activities. First is to understand the business problem. So before analyzing any numbers, I need to understand what decision the business was trying to make. Second is to understand the available data. This meant identifying what each dataset represented, how reliable it was, and how it could contribute to solving the business problem. Third is to analyze the datasets to generate meaningful insights. This is where Excel became the primary analysis tool. Instead of simply observing numbers, the objective was to identify trends, patterns, and relationships across multiple healthcare and economic indicators. Fourth, as you can see, is to convert those insights into business recommendation. Now remember, businesses don't make decisions based on raw data. They make decisions based on insights. So the goal wasn't just analysis. It was providing actionable recommendations. And finally, communicate the findings effectively. Even the best analysis has little value if stakeholders cannot understand it. That's why presenting the insights in a clear and structured manner was an important part of this hackathon. Moving on to the third hackathon case study, as you can see. Now let's understand the business scenario. The organization in this case study is Global MedHealth Systems. So Global MedHealth is already a well-established healthcare provider in the United Kingdom, that's the UK, operating more than 50 hospitals and known for delivering high-quality patient care and innovative healthcare solutions. However, the company wanted to take the next step in long-term growth strategy by expanding internationally. The challenge was to identify which countries would be the best candidates for opening new hospitals while minimizing business risk and maximizing long-term opportunity. So this is a very realistic business problem because organizations frequently use data analytics to support strategic expansion decisions rather than relying on intuition alone. So, as you can see, the next question becomes, how do we decide which countries are actually suitable? The leadership team defined 3 major decision criteria. First is market demand. In simple terms, are there enough people who actually need healthcare services? Countries with growing population, aging demographics, or gaps in healthcare infrastructure may represent stronger opportunities. Second is economic viability. So even if healthcare demand is high, a country must also have a stable economy capable of supporting long-term healthcare investments. So this helps reduce financial risk while ensuring sustainable growth. Third and final is strategic alignment. So this is probably the most important point. The company clearly mentioned that recommendations should not be based on data alone. Business environment, long-term feasibility, and practical consideration must also support the final recommendation. This is something I kept in mind throughout the entire analysis. Now, once the business objective was clear, the next step was understanding the available dataset. Now, Techcanvass provided multiple datasets, with each dataset representing a different aspect of a country's healthcare system and economy. Rather than looking at any one dataset in isolation, my objective was to combine all of them to build a complete picture for every country. In the next section, I'll show you these raw datasets and explain how each one contributed to calculating the final demand score and economic viability score. So as you can see, like any real client engagement, the hackathon also defines very clear deliverables. The first requirement was to recommend the top 3 countries where Global MedHealth should expand. So these recommendations needed to be supported by detailed analysis rather than personal opinion. The second deliverable was to create 2 standardized scores for every country, a demand score and an economic viability score, both on a scale of 10. These scores made it possible to compare countries objectively using a consistent framework, which eventually became the foundation of my Excel model. So the tools which we can use. So the organizations have allowed the participants to use analytical tools. For this project, I choose Microsoft Excel because it provides powerful capabilities for data cleaning, calculation, normalization, scoring models, and visualization. So everything you'll see in this walkthrough, from raw data transformation to final country ranking, was built entirely in Excel. So here is the evaluation criteria, as you can see. So I also found the evaluation criteria very interesting because it closely resembles what business expect from analysts in real projects. So 40% of the score focused on quality of data analysis and insights. 30% evaluated whether recommendation aligned with actual business objectives. 20% assessed communication and presentation quality. And the remaining 10% rewarded innovation and creativity. So in other words, success wasn't just about building formulas. It was about solving the business problem effectively and communicating the solution clearly. Then there are rules and timelines for the project, as you can see. So like any professional project, this hackathon also includes structured timeline, submission, guidelines, and participation rules. So these constraints help stimulate the expectation of real business analytics project, where analysts work within defined requirements, timelines, and deliverables. So this is like the orientation thing. So since the hackathon has already happened, I have used this project basically for I'm using it for my resume and for my Excel project basically. So yeah, so I don't think so I need to explain all these things, timeline and all. It's all happened. I'm just showing you exactly what I've done. These are all the data sets which the Techcanvass team has given us for the analysis for Global MedHealth. We will slowly move to how we inserted the CSV files, that the data sets which are already raw data sets which were already given to us, and how we continued with our Excel presentation. So we'll do that in some time, and yeah, I'll exactly show you how I did it and how I calculated and how I got the three countries which are economically viable and demand driven for global med health. So we'll go on that journey. Before that, I'll stop this video. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how and what I did in Excel.